I'm just arriving this morning for shooting at the Prairie Gun Club pistol range. I'm going to walk over here. We're going to talk a little bit about the rules, and one of the things before we ever even get started is hearing protection. Two kinds that we normally use are these foam type, put them in your ears, and these over your ear type, very important. One other thing that we need people to wear at the pistol range is safety glasses. The first thing we notice is we're the first person to arrive at the range. If that's the case at Prairie Gun Club, you are the designated safety officer, and as a member you're required to make sure that the next people that come on log in or sign into the sign-in book. That's a requirement, and follow the appropriate safety rules. So I'll walk over here and show you guys what to do. On the pistol range, we keep our sign-in book in this locker, and all we're really asking each member is to come over, make sure they sign in before they start shooting. It's very important. So let's take a walk down here. I notice that nobody's here, so I'm going to assume control of the range as the safety officer. The range right now is ready to fire. I haven't turned on the safety lights or anything like that, which allows me to move my guns to the bench. It allows me to do anything except walk down range. When we get ready to make the range safe, we'll turn on our safe lights and we'll stand behind the red line. So moving forward, remember that that's a critical component of your initial session shooting at the Prairie Gun Club pistol range. Spend a little minute and talk about the rules at the Prairie Gun Club pistol range. We have them listed on the wall on the east side, and they're critical, and it's a requirement that we follow each one of these rules when we shoot at the Prairie Gun Club pistol range. The hours, and I'll go over this again, are 08:30 until sunset. That's an agreement we made with the Prairie municipality, and we're required to follow it. That's 7 days a week. The guests and members, again, must sign in and sign out when they're done with their shooting. Absolutely no shooting in front of the benches, and I'd like to walk over and talk about that. That's critical. We've had people do this before. It is incredibly unsafe to do this. And so what I'm going to take a minute and just step over and show what we're talking about shooting in front of the bench, what that actually means. So we're going to come over here. Right now, I'm in front of shooting bench number 1, between shooting bench 1 and our 7-yard range. This is where all the brass is, and obviously people come over here to pick it up, but you may not come here to do anything like that while the range is hot. You cannot shoot from here. You can't turn to here to shoot to get closer to the target. You must be behind our benches. It's a critical safety rule because we have people lined up on the benches shooting, and you become a target. Number 3, this cross lane shooting, what they're talking about here is being on bench 1 and shooting a target on 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever. But you can only shoot the targets that are in front of your bench. And if you're on benches 1 through 6, that's a 7-yard, a 15, a 25, and a 50-yard. You can shoot 25 and 50 on all 12 benches. We don't allow people to draw or shoot from holsters. You must put your gun on the bench, pick it up with the muzzle always pointed downrange, and shoot in that manner. The wood structures are what hold up our overhead baffles, and our ground baffles are composed of wood and steel, obviously, but do not shoot them, don't place targets on them. Always make sure that your gun is pointed at the steel bullet trap at the 50-yard line on the Prairie Gun Club pistol range. No high-velocity centerfire rifle rounds on the pistol range, and what that really means is don't shoot high-powered rifles on our pistol range. And in some cases, there are pistols, like the Thompson Center, that have a very high-powered pistol load. We don't allow those on our range. We do allow 22 rimfire rifles to be shot. We do allow low-velocity black powder rifles to be shot on our pistol range. But we want to avoid damaging our structure. It's pretty close. It's made of mild steel and not designed to take high-velocity rounds, whether out of a pistol or a rifle. One other thing that's come up before, and we want to talk about it, we don't allow shotgun loads of any sort out of a pistol or a shotgun. No buckshot and no shot fired on the pistol range because it damages our overhead baffle. or the ground baffles. And it's unsafe in such a short environment with people standing so close to you. If you want to pattern a shotgun for hunting, we have a pattern board that's designed for that on skeet range number 5, right to the east of it. You can use that to do that. Make sure too that you understand on the rifle range you also cannot shoot buckshot or shot. You can shoot slugs, and you can shoot slugs on our pistol range, although the targets will be pretty close. You could do that. All shots must impact our steel bullet catcher or bullet trap at the 50-yard line on the Grand Prairie Gun Club pistol range. Guests follow the same rules as members. And as a member who signed in a guest, it's important that you watch and manage that. We can't really have anybody, there's no exception to our rules. Please remove and return the target frames when we're finished shooting. Make sure you've taken your target, off the frame, put it in the trash or carry it home, and stand your frame back up on the holders, which are appropriately located along the west wall of the pistol range. Please pick up your trash and sweep up your brass at the end of each shooting cycle that you have. And obviously, it's not safe. You'll roll around, people trip over it, but you definitely want to clean your shooting position up. One of the things that we do on a very regular basis is maintenance and cleanup. The volunteers do that. We ask that each person who shoot here not take the big pieces of cardboard or core frame that we use for our back plates and wad them up and put them in our trash cans. Take them home and put them in a larger trash receptacle because they have staples in them. They're difficult to manage, and we're volunteers. We manage the trash, so please help us out there. One of the things I really want to stress is hearing protection is a requirement at the Grand Prairie Gun Club pistol range as well as the rifle range. It comes in 2 forms. These are the foam ones. Then we have these over-the-ear protection. These are the kind that are electronic, noise canceling. They're very nice, but in either case, any of these will work. One other thing that we require on the pistol range is safety glasses. They need to be worn at all times when you're shooting. Folks, one of the important things that we have that are safety related at the Grand Prairie Gun Club pistol range is our controlling light, which makes the range safe. It's 3 red lights that are overhead. They're turned on and off by a switch on the east and west side. In this case, we'll turn it on with this. It's got 2 lights and a beacon in the center. While that's flashing, you may not cross the red line and approach the shooting bench under any circumstances. Your guns should be made safe when you step away. That means the breeches are open, the gun's open, and it's unloaded, and nobody's touching it. You step back behind the line, and at that point, the range users can go downrange and put targets in place, remove baffles, or whatever work they want to do downrange while this light's on. Let me show you this red line. It runs from shooting bench 1 through shooting bench 12. It's critical that you observe this. This is the red line we're talking about, guys. It runs all the way down here, and I just want to make sure that regardless of what you see, while the light's red, even while you're getting ready to shoot, you can't cross into that. You can only cross to the bench when the range is hot and ready to be used. Folks, I'm going to go put a target in the target frame for the 7-yard line and show you guys how we'd like to do it and what to do that so it's correctly done. Follow me. Come down here. This is the frame, and it's set up to go into the 7-yard line. It's set here conveniently for everybody's use. So we want to put the target on here. Make sure you do not place your target on any of the wood surrounding areas because it leaves staples. People get cut on it. We want to make sure it's put on correctly. Take it out of here. We're going to go over here and we're just going to set it in our frame holder. This allows us to shoot on bench 2 at the 7-yard line. This is correctly done. The target's about where it needs to be, so it's not too low or too high. We won't be hitting any of the structure behind it. But remember, all shots are designed to impact the 50-yard steel bullet trap, so make sure your target lines up with that. And I'd like to talk about positioning yourself to shoot. They're designed to be standing position shooting, which means when we turn around and we shoot, the barrel's naturally directed right towards our 50-yard bullet trap. Some people want to sit down and shoot or stabilize their gun in some fashion, or they're maybe they have children and they're really low down when they get here to shoot. We want you to be aware of the fact that if you're very low here, it's possible to shoot over our bullet trap. So you need to make sure that you're lined up and you will hit the 50-yard steel bullet trap at the pistol range. One thing we have out here to help make that happen is you don't want to just sit in a chair. You want to sit in our benches or our stools that we brought that are higher up that keep your barrel lined up. Let me show you one. What we have are these stools that are a little bit taller. If you set that here, sit down on it, line your gun up, it's lined up level and will cause the barrel to point directly at our steel bullet trap at 50 yards on the pistol range. One thing I'll show you is the small chairs that we have out here, which are not designed to be used at the shooting bench. I'll get one, I'll sit down and I'll show you what happens with the angle of your barrel. We have some of these folding stools out here, and they're really just for the comfort of the shooter to have a place to sit. They're not really designed to be shooting from because they're too low. I'll show you. You set it down here, you sit down to shoot, your barrel is angled at an upward angle, and it could allow you to shoot over the top of our steel bullet trap at 50 yards. So we don't want you to do that. We want you to use a higher seat or a higher seated position. And again, we have higher stools for that, and we have some framed out wooden seats that would work better. But don't use these low seats to shoot from. Guys, what I want to show you is if you're sitting too low at the Grand Prairie Gun Club pistol range, it allows your barrel angle to be at an angle that it could shoot over our steel bullet trap at 50 yards. So I'm sitting at a low stool, and you should be able to see from this camera angle, if I were to turn around to shoot my target, which I have on lane 2 at 7 yards, my barrel is pointed in an upward fashion, which could allow a bullet to go over the top of our steel 50-yard bullet trap. We have some frames that are set up for you to use if you want to stabilize your pistol, and they allow you to put your pistol on the frame, keep it level, and not shoot over or too low on the Grand Prairie Gun Club pistol range. You can set this up, set your gun on it, it puts your gun barrel at about a level position so you will hit our steel bullet trap. Remember, these type of things are even high enough, if you were to just sit on it, it would also put you at the right angle where you wouldn't shoot over. They're really designed to hold the guns, but you could sit on them, they're high enough. The point is that the small chairs that we have out here are not a good idea to shoot from. They allow you to shoot over the back of our bullet stop. We have these gun rests that were created by some of our members, and they'll work for a pistol as well as for stabilizing a rifle. If you're going to shoot a .22 rimfire rifle, we have some people also that shoot black powder, and you can shoot that on our Grand Prairie pistol range. So these will work for that too. They'll help stabilize it. And remember, we want to make sure when you use something like this that your barrel and your gun is pointed at our steel bullet trap at 50 yards. And if you're going to sit down to use them, again, I'd like to point out, you can't really ever be sitting much lower than this. And I cheat and use this because it lets me use this, right? But any lower, and again, you're going to cant your barrel up and it'll go above our bullet trap. You know, we've talked about the damage to our baffles, and we've talked about the damage to our wooden structure that holds up our overhead baffles and our ground baffles. One of the things you could point out here is if you're sitting incorrectly or using this incorrectly, your gun is going to point upwards, or could point upwards, or even downwards if you're standing up using it. But you can see along the top, we have a lot of damage on our overhead baffles. These have to be replaced. They're very expensive, and they're very time consuming to replace. And you can see where a person has used a shotgun shooting type pistol and put shot in it, and you can see a lot of bullet holes along it. And those are caused by people that don't have their barrels pointed at our steel bullet trap at 50 yards or using inappropriate ammunition. Let's talk about the electrical for the rifle and pistol pavilions. This is the electrical box for them. We want it left in the on position. That allows the safety lights, the red lights, to come on and the power points to work correctly. If there's a problem or an issue, you just turn it down, turns it off. But in most cases, most of the time, we want to leave it in the on position. We log in or sign in before we start shooting, and we sign out when we're completed. We also ask for a donation or a fee of $3 for members to shoot and $5 for non-members or guests to shoot. And this is to help pay for maintenance and upgrades to our range. Thank you.